This is the continuing story of Peyton Place. Starring Dorothy Malone as Constance Mackenzie, Ed Nelson as Michael Rossi, Ryan O'Neill as Rodney Harrington, Barbara Parkins as Betty Anderson, Tim O'Connor as Elliot Carson, Christopher Connolly as Norman Harrington, Patricia Morrow as Rita Harrington.
Doctor's Hospital. A routine night. A few patients have been admitted. And among those admitted, Allison Mackenzie. Reason for admittance, severe emotional withdrawal. Comments, check patient every 2 hours. But tonight, every 2 hours isn't enough. Allison Mackenzie is gone. The discovery was made by Miss Choate, and there are desperate efforts to inform Dr. Michael Rossi.
Yeah.
Dr. Rossi, this is Miss Choate.
Yes, Miss Choate.
Dr. Rossi, I just checked Allison Mackenzie's room. She's not there.
Oh, well, she's probably wandering around, so maybe you check some of the other floors.
We've checked all the floors, the grounds. All her clothes are gone. Her closet's empty.
All right, listen, I'll come over as soon as I can.
I thought you were asleep.
I've just been sitting here thinking.
Uh-huh. Thinking? What about?
Oh, remembering a few things.
What things?
When Allison was in the 2nd grade, I think it was, one of the teachers at the school died. I think it was the first time Allison was aware of death. I came up here a few days later, and she was sitting at her little desk, intent on writing something. I asked her what it was, and she said she was making out a will. I asked her if she thought that was absolutely necessary. She said, "Oh, yes, Mother, I think it is." She said, "I'm leaving you most of my things, but I wanted Mrs. Gregson to have my ballet shoes."
Mrs. Gregson, who's that?
She's a woman that came in about once a week to help me clean. She was an enormous woman, easily 6 feet tall and very plain. I asked her how she decided on that, and she said, well, she didn't think that Mrs. Gregson had ever had any ballet shoes, and it wasn't something she'd go out and buy herself.
How old was she then?
About 7. She was an amazing child. She sent so many things.
You want to see something? I haven't been able to find it since I've been back. It's the one that I had in prison. Look.
Oh, I can't believe it. Look at my hair.
That's a la mode, my dear. Look at Alice.
Oh, she was much prettier than that.
I know that. Well, that grinning little infant was mine. That's really all I ever cared about anyway.
We were up in New York. That was in Riverside Park. I think I had a policeman take it. Why are we doing this, Elliot?
Doing what?
Remembering.
Oh, I think all parents feel a little nostalgic at certain times, don't you?
Is it nostalgia? It felt like something else. Hello?
Hello, Connie.
Mike, what is it?
It's Allison. She left the hospital.
I knew it.
Connie?
What is it, Mike? What happened?
Elliot, I don't have any details yet, but...
Sometime in the last couple of hours, Allison left the hospital.
Left? What do you mean she left?
Well, it's hard to say what happened, but I'll give you a report as soon as I find out anything. Now, she couldn't have gone far.
Now, wait a minute, Mike. Was she alone? Well, how did she get out, anyway?
As soon as I find out anything, I'll report you. Okay, Mike. Thanks.
Connie, I'm going to the hospital to see if I can find out anything. Excuse me.
Mr. Carson,
My daughter.
we've searched every corner of the hospital. I'm sorry.
Miss Choate, you see, what I don't understand is Dr. Rossi told me that he left orders for a 2-hour check on Allison's room. Now, I'm not suggesting that he blamed anyone, because he didn't.
Dr. Rossi did leave an order for 2-hour checks. Allison left between checks.
But how? I mean, how could a patient just walk out, Miss Piper? I mean, my Allison would have had to walk past your station, wouldn't she, Miss Choate? I mean, she'd have had to walk past someone. I mean, surely a person with an obvious emotional problem could hardly get by unnoticed. I mean, she couldn't have been mistaken for a visitor, could she, Miss Choate?
I understand how upset you are, Mr. Carson.
That's fine, Miss Choate, but unfortunately, you don't understand how upset my daughter was. Now, besides these 2 doors, where are the other exits?
Everything has been checked.
Where are the other exits? I mean, obviously, there's an emergency entrance here at the end of her corridor.
There's a door leading to the parking lot down her corridor.
I see, and no one is there.
No.
Well, Miss Choate, were you on duty when Dr. Rossi left his orders about the 2-hour check on Allison's room?
Yes,
Well, then you knew that Allison was a patient here.
of course.
And you've known Allison for a long, long time.
Oh, yes.
And you don't feel any personal responsibility whatsoever.
Mr. Carson, we have no guards here. We have no bars on the windows. Your daughter wanted to leave. Apparently, she saw her chance and walked out. I do feel a personal responsibility. I would give anything for this not to have happened.
Miss Choate, I'm sorry. Is Dr. Rossi in his office?
Yes.
Excuse me, please.
Who is it?
George Washington.
Steve, what are you doing here?
I pulled a little jailbreak, sweetheart. Well, hey, isn't anybody glad to see me? Hello, Chris.
Hello.
What's going on?
Nothing's going on. I was in jail, and now I'm out. It's just as simple as that. Come here. I really missed you, you know that?
Tell me what's happening.
All right. I finally got somebody to take my case. Stephen Cord.
What? You must be kidding.
On the level. And he's really fast. He got me bail with no hassle at all.
How did you con him into that?
Con him? I didn't have to con him, man. He believes I'm innocent. Which I am.
Lee, you've insulted him, you pushed his sister around, you even decked him once just because he wanted to talk to me in the shoreline. And there's no question that he helped get you arrested. Now, you can't tell me he doesn't have some pretty far-out reason for wanting to defend you. Now, what is it? What did you tell him?
I told him that I pushed you off the bluff. And that I was the one that made you blind.
You told him that?
Yeah. I finally got it off my chest. You see, I wanted to get started on the right foot, clear the air. It felt pretty good.
Yeah, but it felt like a million. So Stephen Cord's gonna defend you.
That's right. And he's got to be the best lawyer in town. He'll take that DA and make a monkey out of him, just like he did before with that Chernak dame.
Just can't believe it.
Well, look, Cord's in that racket not just to make the money. I He's a pretty fair guy.
And you were pretty unfair to his sister right up to the end.
Well, look, I know you have your own ideas, but maybe now's the time to think them over, you know? I mean, if Cord took my case, it's because he's got to believe that I had nothing to do with what happened to that chick. And if he thinks I'm on the level, where do you come off thinking anything different? Or you either, for that matter. Hey, come on. What kind of a homecoming is this? Let's have a drink. Got anything in the house to drink, sweetheart?
We're out.
Well, then let's go right down to Ada Jack's. Man, she's never out. Hey, come on, Chris. Everything's going to work out just fine.
Yeah, I'll go along with that. We'll parade down to Ada's and show how we believe you're innocent. Your loving brother and your loving wife.
That's the idea. Hey, come on, Sandy. You go and get something on to make yourself look like something.
Like a loving wife?
Well, you are, aren't you?
Hello?
Hello, Rodney?
Have you seen Allison?
Well, no, not since last night.
What time did you see her last night?
Well, around dinner time. Why?
Did anything happen to upset her? I mean, how was she?
When you left her.
Rod, this is important.
Well, a lot happened.
What specifically?
Hey, look, that's a little rough on the phone.
What do you mean?
Well, I asked her to marry me.
Yeah?
And she turned me down.
You remember what she said, the exact words?
Yeah, she said that I really didn't love her, that I only felt sorry for her. She said that's okay because I feel sorry for you, too.
Do you know we found her on the bluff this afternoon?
No.
Well, because of it, I decided to put her in the hospital, just for rest and observation.
Well, isn't she there now?
No, she disappeared.
What do you mean she's disappeared? You just let her walk out?
Rod, listen to me.
I'll find her.
Call me.
If you do.
Stand another rubber talking about Mrs. Dow's auxiliary work and Mr. Dow's garden. Now, will you please tell me why you took Lee's case? Do you really think he's innocent? Stephen, he is accused of murdering your sister. Why are you defending him?
Betty, I can make my own decisions.
Stephen, don't do this to me.
Don't do what?
Don't turn away.
I couldn't even if I wanted to.
Then are you really going to try to get Lee Weber off?
I'm his lawyer.
But I'm asking...
Wrong question.
A lot of people will be asking that, Stephen.
Let them.
There'll have to be an answer.
Eventually.
You can tell me.
Betty, I'm a lawyer.
One who doesn't like to lose.
True.
But are you really going to try to get Lee Weber off? Stephen, he has threatened your sister.
I know. Now, Betty, I don't want to talk about it.
You're afraid to.
I don't want to.
Stephen, do you really think that Martin Peyton and your mother...
Betty, I'm making a rule. And no more questions about this. Just trust me. Look, if you learn to love me, you can learn to trust me. Now, it's a lovely, warm evening. Let's just